Hey guys, my name is Escarla. Welcome back to my channel. This is my little crafty corner of the universe where I like to document my making and really share anything that is inspiring me in my little creative life. Spring has been zooming by and we are so close to summer. And like any true knitter knows, we do not just knit for the winter. We knit all year round. We make this hobby happen under all conditions. So with summer right around the corner, I wanted to live vicariously through the internet and see what I would want to make, what is inspiring to me at the moment. If you guys don't already know, I am like almost 6 months pregnant, so I haven't really been knitting for myself, and I thought this would be the perfect excuse to go on Ravelry and just find some things that are exciting and I would want to make if I wasn't busy making a bunch of baby knits. So without further ado, here's my top 10 knitting patterns from spring to summer. Number 1 is the Gushy Garter Tank by Park Williams. So I really love Park's patterns. I've actually test knit for her quite a bit, and whenever I've test knit for her, I really haven't found many issues in her writing. I feel like her patterns are very clear to follow, and I feel like she has a very contemporary style, which I greatly appreciate. At the time of posting this video, this is one of her newest patterns. It is worked from the bottom up and knit in the round, and it calls for 2 strands of fingering weight yarn, so that'll make it like extra squishy. So technically it's a worsted weight pattern. You could use a single ply of a worsted weight rather than 2 fingering weights, but I think the 2 fingering weights gives you the opportunity to play with color. There was actually a scrappy version that she made that is super cute. It looks like melted crayons, and I feel like it would be a great way to use up all of your scrap yarns. A lot of us tend to knit with a lot of like indie fingering weight yarns, so this would be a great way to like have fun with color and use up those scraps from sock projects. The construction looks pretty simple, so I would definitely call this more of a beginner friendly knit. I think if you're just starting to get into garment knitting, this would be a great introduction since you're not really knitting any sleeves. Should be a fairly quick knit, especially if you make it cropped. So highly recommend this pattern. Give it a shot. Number 2 is the Ophelia blouse by Tamara Jordan. Now this is such a cute and like kind of sexy blouse for the summertime. I really love the lace detailing happening here along the buttonhole area. You have these like big gapy holes, which I think you can easily adjust if you're not into exposing so much of your, chesticle area. You can just add a few more buttons and tighten that up. But I think it's really cute as is. It's a top-down seamless knit with some short rows happening in the shoulders, and it does have shaping on the hips. So, it really helps kind of flatter your curves. And it also has some darts that can be customized based on your bust size. So I like the fact that it is kind of molded to your body shape, which I feel like a lot of patterns tend to either be knit straight or don't have a lot of shaping going on. So this is like a fun garment to play around with shaping and get a little bit accustomed to that. It calls for a fingering weight yarn. I believe the designer knit this in like a silk yarn, which is beautiful for summer. And I think would look really great in this garment since it kind of gives that extra flow, if you will. And the lace detailing is charted and written, so depending what you're into, you have a little bit of both. It does call for a crochet picot border, so if you're a little nervous about crochet, I think you can still handle it. There's a tutorial involved. She provides a video tutorial, so that should really walk you through it and make it a little bit easier. But I feel like this would be a really great garment to play around with construction and shaping. And you have a little bit of everything going on that will keep you like entertained throughout the process. And yeah, I just think this is a really beautiful addition to your wardrobe. It will look super cute over a bathing suit or as like a casual kind of going out top. I really want to knit this one. I think it would look super cute for maybe next summer when I am not a big basketball. Number 3 is the Camille top by Johanna Garish. I hope I am saying that right. But this is another really romantic and breezy looking top. I actually really love the color the designer knit this in. That like mustardy yellow is super bright and like happy. So I would actually knit it in the same color. So it is knit top down in 2 halves, and you do have to do some seaming to create that like overlay effect. The peplum itself is knit separately and then also seamed, so I think it's a very interesting construction. I like the look of the peplum. I'm sure you can adjust that to your desired height. I also think if you were to add like 2 more layers of that peplum and like layer them, it would also look really cute and like, I don't know, very like densey and flowy. This one is knit in a fingering weight yarn. The designer used like a bamboo yarn, so perfect for the summertime. I would probably knit this a little bit longer than the designer did. It seems like her version is about an inch above the belly button. So I would actually knit the peplum a little bit longer so that it could cover a bit more. But overall, I think it's a really beautiful summer top. Number 4 is the Senesio top by Ksenia Nadion. And again, I hope I'm saying that right. I'm so sorry if I am mispronouncing. But this top really, really caught my eye. I love the design name. It's named after a plant. I think a lot of people know it as the string of pearls plant. But I love that like bobble yoke effect. It's so fun and playful. And I think it would actually look really cool if you use like a different color for that part. I don't have the instructions themselves, so I'm not sure if that's doable. But I think that would look super cute with like a color shifting like bobble moment. But yeah, I really love the yoke design for this one. I love how it kind of fades into the ribbing as it goes on, with like an increased bobble effect up top. So I think the construction looks really beautiful. It is obviously worked top down and starts at the yoke. And there is a video tutorial included for the short row shaping that is part of the shoulders. And it seems to include a lot of fun different stitches. So this would be a fun one to like learn a couple of new stitches. I've never really made a bobbly top. That's something that I would want to make in the future. This one calls for a sport or a DK weight yarn, and the designer also seemed to knit this one quite cropped. I've noticed a lot of modern patterns now are hella cropped, and I don't hate that because I personally love high-waisted pants, but it's just something I've observed when gathering patterns. Like almost everything is super cropped nowadays. So you can definitely modify it to make it longer. You can even make the sleeves longer if you want to make it a sweater. But I think the design itself is super beautiful, and I think it would be an addictive knit, especially with it starting top down. You get really excited seeing the bobbles grow. And then after that, you're really just working like a rib stitch. So yeah, I certainly think this would be a really fun one to learn some new techniques if you've never done like bobbling before. Number 5 is the Millie Cardigan by Irene Lin. I've been dying to do a design by Irene Lin. I feel like her patterns are so beautiful and like unique. I was stuck between 2 patterns to feature in this video today, which I did include the other pattern in my Ravelry collection page with all of these patterns that I'm talking about. It'll be linked down below. But I decided to go with this one because it's a cardigan. I feel like there's a lot of like tank tops and t-shirts, but I wanted some variety, so I decided to go with the cardigan. We all know how convenient it is to have a summer cardigan. I feel like depending what time of summer it is, sometimes nights can be really cool, or if you're like out and about, usually stores have like the AC blasting, and it's like kind of shocking to go from like really hot heat to like a really cold environment. So I feel like a cardigan like this is perfect. It's a half sleeve, so it provides enough coverage to keep you warm enough, but it's still super lacy and breathable since it is like a lace cardigan. I think it's super beautiful. The pattern does feature 2 sleeve lengths, so if you do prefer like a long sleeve, it features a bishop sleeve design, which is also really, really beautiful and romantic. I would probably do the half sleeve for summer. I feel like this would look really good over like a really cute, like long flowy dress. Now this garment is knit flat top down, which I kind of expect from these types of cardigans. You could learn to modify it and do some steeking, but I feel like with how lacy this is, that would just be kind of messy. So if you don't like knitting flat, maybe this one's not for you. I think it's totally worth it. It costs for a DK weight yarn. I believe the designer used a cashmere yarn. I would probably use something a little bit more like summer appropriate, like maybe like a linen or silk blend. I feel like silk will look really beautiful in this lacy design. But yeah, I think the construction is really beautiful, and this would make a really lovely wardrobe staple to wear over dresses or even to like dress up a t-shirt look. Number 6 is the Lola dress by Sadness Designs. Okay, so this dress is everything and I want to own it so bad. It's the first dress that I saw on Ravelry that really kind of made me want it really badly. But the pattern does make me a little bit nervous. The Ravelry page itself only has like 3 votes for the design, which always makes me a little bit nervous to jump into, especially for a project that requires so much knitting and so much yarn. So it has an overall rating of 4.3 and a clarity rating of 4. And then there's about 42 projects in there, but like none of them have any notes. So it just makes me a little bit weary about jumping in. But I feel like it's such a cute dress that it's kind of worth it. It calls for a worsted weight yarn, so I think it's really important to make sure that you pick a material that is light enough. I wouldn't do like wool for this because you'll probably end up with a really heavy garment. There's a lot of rows of stockinette happening here. So you have to consider how much weight that would be and how it will weigh down the garment. It is worked top down, so you can definitely modify the length of the skirt and the length of the kind of top part of the dress. Like I said, since it's quite a bit of yardage, I would probably knit the top a little bit shorter than what it calls for, so that when it like invariably like weighs down a bit, it stretches out to be kind of the ideal length rather than creating a really long top piece that looks a little bit more like 1920s, if you will. I really love the like ruffle sleeve detailing and the like half button band situation going on. It gives that like kind of cottage core-y boho vibe that I really appreciate. So if you're willing to knit like miles and miles of stockinette, give this a shot and please let me know how it goes, because like I said, I am a little bit nervous to like invest in jumping into this one, but the finished piece itself looks so beautiful that I probably would do it. Number 7 is the Sea Salt Tee by Atelier Castin. Now this is truly like the wardrobe staple t-shirt. I really love the way it looks. It is a basic stockinette kind of t-shirt. It features a double knit hem and neckline, and it is knit top down with set-in sleeves. I actually really love the look of the contrasting hem and collar. I feel like it gives it that like vintage look, and I do feel like it's a really good template to do something fun. Like you can play with striping, or you can even do some intarsia or some double knitting over it to create like whatever fun design you want on it. So it does call for a sport weight yarn. The designer used 2 strands of fingering, so I feel like that gives a nice little cushy fabric. I really like how fabric turns out when you use 2 strands of like a fingering weight. I did that for a vest of mine, and I feel like it just creates a very elevated fabric. So I can totally see why she chose to do that. Number 8 is the Lulu Racerback by Leah Prestano. This one's actually been in my favorites for quite a while. I'm actually surprised I haven't gotten around to it. This one uses a fingering weight yarn, and I think it would be perfect for like a really fun indie dyed yarn. I've actually collected quite a bit of like fingering weight skeins from my travels. I tend to buy like 1 indie dyed skein of yarn for like socks or for something fun, and then I never really know what to do with them. So I think this would be a really fun project to use up one of those skeins. Now I know I didn't really mention the grading in any of the patterns, but this one really stuck out to me because it's graded in 16 different sizes. I would definitely knit this in negative ease to make sure you have enough support from your boobas, because it is a racerback in the back. I don't know about you, but I personally hate the look of bra straps when you're wearing a racerback, which is probably why I don't own a lot of racerback tops. But I think if you do it in a negative ease, that would give you enough support to keep you in place and not have you like wobbling all around if you have larger boobs like I do. So this one is worked from the bottom up, so definitely consider your gauge and figure out how long you actually want the piece before you kind of split off and start doing that racerback. Which the racerback itself has that really pretty lace detailing, which is also written and charted. It's very nice. But yeah, I feel like this would be a really nice piece for like really hot days and you just want to wear something simple. I think it could easily become something that you wear underneath things as well in the winter. So definitely consider this pattern. Number 9 is the Blooming Stitch Shawl by Mary R. White. And like I just said, this is a shawl for you shawl knitters out there. We love a summery, breezy moment. I really, really love the lace featured on here. It is called the Blooming Stitch, which is found in a lot of Estonian lace patterns. And I feel like it just looks so romantic, and it would be perfect for, like I said, those like chillier rooms in the summer, or even to wear over like a dress. I actually think this would be a really beautiful wedding shawl if you knit it in like a white or an off-white color. The pattern itself has 2 different slight variations, so you can kind of decide what would work best for you. Now this is a bit of a looser knit, and it calls for a lace weight yarn. So I think it'll take quite a bit of knitting to get it done, but I feel like it's totally worth it. It ends up creating a half circle shape, and the cast off is a crochet chain cast off. So again, you have to be a little okay with crocheting, but the cast off itself looks pretty simple to me. But if you're a little bit nervous about it, I'm sure you can just YouTube like the bind off, or just choose to bind off in whichever manner you prefer. Number 10 is the Darjeeling Top by Trust the Mojo. So last but not least is this cute little kind of cottagecore crop top moment. I think it's so cute. It's simple, but it has that pretty lacing at the bottom that just kind of elevates it and makes it look extra cute. It is knit flat from the bottom up in a sport weight yarn. So since you do start at the hem, you basically end up knitting the hardest part first. And then after that, you're pretty much smooth sailing, which is quite nice because I feel like at the start of a project is when you have the most excitement and momentum to do something challenging. So I think that's very smart. The designer herself used cotton, which, just so you know, I've knit a couple of cotton tops, and I feel like all of them have like grown 2 sizes. So I would definitely swatch for this and wash it, maybe wash it twice even, and block it in whichever way you do to make sure that you actually reach proper gauge, because I cannot tell you how frustrating it is to knit an entire top and then just have it grow 2 sizes. It's very frustrating. So learn from my mistake and do a gauge swatch, and make sure you wash it and play with it before you fully commit to knitting the top. But yeah, I just really love the picot edge on this one. I think it's really romantic and cute. And I feel like with so many of these tops, you can just end up putting a cardigan over it in the winter, and then it's like a completely different look. So I love summer tops. They're super easy to do. They're less involved because you're not really knitting like full sleeves or anything. And they're just so much more of a breeze to knit. All right, guys, so that is the end of my little spring summer collection here. I will link the Ravelry collection page down below for you to check out. Like I said, there's a couple of extra like patterns that I didn't mention in the video that you can find there. Let me know in the comments down below what you're planning to knit this summer. I want to like live through you, since I won't be really knitting for myself. I'm having so much fun with the baby knits. I'll probably end up doing a video further down the line of everything I made for the baby, or really just a roundup of different baby knits that I found that I really think are super cute. So I'm not completely disappointed in my little knitting journey this summer. But yeah, definitely let me know what you're planning to make. I hope that I inspired you with some of the patterns that I mentioned in this video. If you haven't done so already, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel. It really means so much to me to have you here in my little community. You can also find me on Instagram at Starseed Creations. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you reaching the end. And until next time, take care of yourself. Thank you for being here, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!